This week on Who Corner to Corner.
So this project started a very long time ago, but the original concept was it was going to be set in a space casino, a little bit like Ocean's 11. Should I tell you the original concept? I suppose I should. You bring back some old, what were enemies, and maybe they're not enemies anymore. And you laugh because they're ridiculous and silly, but then they're vicious, absolutely vicious. Yeah. There was one review that said I would give this 10 out of 10, but I'll give it 9 out of 10 because I've got to wait until the next issue. There could be some broken circuits, but there might be some repaired circuits, and there might be... Oh, it's so exciting. I wish I could tell you, but I can't.
The world, and welcome to another Who Corner to Corner podcast. My name is Paul, as always, and I'm here with Jeff, as always. But we're also here with Mr. Jonathan Wilkins from Titan Comics, editor-in-chief of the Doctor Who range. Is that not right? Did I get your job title right there? Editor-in-chief.
Yeah, I mean, it's generally... I actually just made the coffee, but it's
tell everyone that.
Comics.
So we're very excited today because we are recording this on the 17th of Feb, and tomorrow, Tuesday, the 18th of February, 2026, for those of you listening to this in the future.
How they listen to it in the future?
You can do. You're probably right off my stride now. I was going somewhere with this, but tomorrow sees the release of the final episode in comic form of the 15th Doctor's magnificent adventure, The Prison Paradox, which is quite something. So this is a series of 4 installments, a story told across 4 comics. It began in November at the end of 2025, and then was released monthly through December, through January, and now in February we're about to see the final episode. Jonathan, tell us about this project. Where did it start? How did it come about? How's it going?
So this project started a very long time ago. It started off with I had an idea of with all these things you kind of come up with an idea, then give it to the writer. But the original concept was it was going to be set in a space casino, and there was going to be the Doctor and his. Would have to team up with some old enemies, some new characters, and so forth. A little bit like Ocean's 11.
Yes.
To do it to a heist. And the original concept was that. Should I tell you the original concept? I suppose I should.
Yes. Go on.
Why not? Why not? We can't do it now.
They can't stop you now.
They can't stop. The original concept was that essentially an alien gangster who runs the casino, like. Diamonds are forever type thing where there's the Blofeld is tiny. He's basically stolen and got hold of the Doctor's sonic screwdriver. Now, the sonic screwdriver, of course, which can open every door in the universe, will be very useful for... Right, so he's stolen this and then he's going to replicate the technology and, so forth. So the Doctor's got to get it back, or this guy's going to... run right across it. So he teams up with a group of this came out talk about 10 15 years ago. It's a very long time before it had anything to do with the range, and I kind of thought but it was one of those things that the time wasn't right.
Was that an idea? So is there a bank of ideas for comics and you sort of pluck one out, or
I've had an idea of Doctor Who story. An idea, of Doctor Who stories that I'd like to see since I was about 7 years of age. I have this notebook. Yeah. I literally have a notebook which is just full of like either one word or, short paragraphs of, hey, wouldn't it be good to do this, or wouldn't it, what about this? And, with this one, the idea that, you bring back some old, what were enemies, and maybe they're not enemies anymore. It's a little bit like in the...
they're kind of fan favourites in a way. sort of thing?
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing is it took. So what happened is when Dan, who writes the strip, sort of got the idea, he said, "Look, I've just done a casino thing. Can we make it a prison?" And then we talked about, well, what if every level of the prison was a different containment unit for different types of criminals? So you would have a thing for like gas monsters, or you would have a thing for gas villains, or you would have and like I said, can we have nearly a whole issue underwater? Do you think?
Yeah.
No, that's easy. He says that's easy. Like, so that's something you can't. It's not so easy on TV, but yeah, you can do that. And so, and somebody pointed out online. They said, "Oh, it's 20 years since the Slovene were," and my kids are obsessed with the Slovene. They're a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old, and they just love them. They call them the farties.
I mean, why wouldn't you? Really,
they're very disappointed. They're very disappointed we haven't actually had any farting in the comic, but it's quite hard to.
Well, he's a bit tough in the with his eye patch, and
we decided. So we decided to bring back the Slovene, because I really like the Slovene. I think the Slovene are very underrated. You go back and watch those episodes, the Aliens of London storyline, and you laugh because they're ridiculous and silly, but then they're vicious, absolutely vicious. And
and on the one hand, it's almost the atypical Doctor Who actor in a rubber costume, foam costume or something, with a bit of CGI. But they're terrifying. But they're terrifying, claws, right?
And it was actually again when we were watching it with my kids, they were the bit where one of them gets into Jackie Tyler's flat.
Yeah,
was, and this is it kind of epitomises Doctor Who really. They were terrified, and there was a real there was a turn round and a, "Daddy, can you turn it off? It's just too scary." And the next minute, she throws salt in it at it, and it sort of explodes with a fart. There's goo everywhere, and they were laughing. "No, don't turn it off. We love it. We love it." So kind of bringing in those monsters and having an adipose and creatures like that. These are now old monsters. It's incredible, and also they're not sort of overused monsters.
No, they haven't been brought back, really, have they?
Not really. Only the very small cameos, or in like the Sarah Jane show and so forth. So I thought there was more we could do with those ones, and I thought I thought if we bring them back, it's a little bit like in the Peladon stories where the Ice Warriors appear, but they're good guys, and it's like, oh wow, that suddenly makes it not just a monster that lumbers around is going to get you. You suddenly gives more weight to a character, or more sort of makes it, it makes it, an alien, not just a monster, So I kind of, I really like that, and I think Dan wrote it so brilliantly and brought so much character to, those two characters and our newer characters, that you do you feel like you've known them for longer than, the couple of issues they've appeared in. So that's
totally agree.
That's kind of where it comes from. Yes.
So for anybody who hasn't yet picked up these comics and started having a look, firstly, why not? Please do so, because they're brilliant. So just very briefly, the story itself sees the 15th Doctor and Belinda on a prison space station which is in orbit around a black hole. And the Doctor, so Belinda is in a room with the prison warden, and she's being alternately kind of being terrified on the one hand and subject to some really bad jokes on the other hand, both of which is hilarious. And the Doctor kind of has to team up with the Slovene, and as you said earlier, the adipose as well. We're going to talk about that in a minute, because I've got a lot to say about that. And some new monsters as well. So when I was kind of first reading it, I thought, well, this is almost like, and I think you thought this as well, Jeff, right? It's a bit like Suicide Squad. So we've gone from your idea of Ocean's 11 to almost like Suicide Squad type kind of thing.
Well, yeah, and this is what happens, of course, is that I was going around at Ocean's 11 and someone said, "Oh, you mean like Suicide Squad?" I said, "Well, yeah, like Suicide Squad." And then someone said, "Oh, it's a bit like Guardians of the Galaxy." Yeah, it's a bit like that, but I hadn't actually thought of Guardians of the Galaxy. And then it was a bit like they do a similar thing in the Star Trek Section 31, the gang of sort of...
Yes.
Yeah, it's like all of those things. But I had this idea 15 years ago, so come on, guys. But it felt... I think it just felt like something very fresh for Doctor Who to do.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, I know I'm sure we're not that fresh, and there have been similar things done in Who before, but it just felt fresh to take those characters, and also it's nice to see Doctor 15 with some old foes, and some because we didn't see a lot of him with the Doctor's facing an old enemy kind of stuff. Yeah. So
well, you've fulfilled that, haven't you, in his 2 Titan comics with the previous Cyberman one and this one. Which was really good.
We have, and we didn't. We wanted to make sure we had new stuff as well. I don't think it's ever a good idea just to sort of, we're bringing back an old one. Great, but do something different with it. Do something new with it. Which hopefully we've kind of, I say, got away with.
Well, it's quite an interesting structure as well, because as the Doctor kind of makes his way through the space station to kind of rescue Belinda, there's like each episode or each installment kind of focuses on one of the member of the Doctor's new team, don't we? So we have the underwater section and I forget the name. Is it Methuselah or something?
Methuloff. I can't pronounce it very well.
That's a fantastic thing. Neither can Dan. We had he wrote it and then
his keyboard.
he sort of said and it was really called Meson, which if you look on the Amazon listing, is still called Meson. But then he decided to make it a bit more complicated. But I think, as with a lot of these things, you can type these things down, and then so used to So
that's the Harrison Ford thing, isn't it? You can write this shit, George, but you can't say it.
It is, yeah.
And that's the beauty of comics, almost, isn't it? Because you put this stuff in, nobody has to say it, because you're reading it, it's in your head. So when you read it, it just makes sense. It doesn't really matter. You're just kind of going along with it. But I'm trying to find it here, actually, because it is...
So he's a Methloff and then it's even worse. His planet is like the
Tentaculon.
Anyway, it's Tentaculon. Thank you. Trust me, Dad and I we did an interview somewhere else, and we were both sort of. It was like we worked on this, and we're really struggling to say it. So
methylo. I mean, that doesn't sound too difficult. Actually, Methloff.
Sounds like a drug.
And then you've got the H8. So the H8 cyborg, which I was really excited for initially, is kind of dispatched quite quickly, actually, because it's almost too powerful.
He is almost too powerful, and he was a kind of fun one because he's sort of built up from different concepts, and so we kind of originally had him. There were a few more familiar robots and things that were in there, but we kind of thought, well, we might need to just dial it down a little bit because put some new stuff in there. So. But yeah, he was a great one to sort of think, because not only, you have to remember, we had to think of robots that he could be built a part of, but also in this continuity, the Earth has disappeared or been destroyed.
Of course,
so it can't be anything that humanity would have built. So, that was kind of a tricky one there are an awful lot of discussions of trying to make that work, but yeah, you're right. He's a little bit too powerful, but yeah, we soon sorted him out.
Yeah, soon sorted him out, and then of course Methaloff, or however we're going to pronounce it, who eats Zygons. That's quite a fun idea.
Well, yeah, and to be honest, I just thought the Zygons are such a great. And also, it was the anniversary of the Zygons last year. It was their 50th.
It's always going to be an anniversary of something in Doctor Who, isn't it?
I know.
That's true, yeah.
But
it's 40 years since Kekilion.
Hey, we've had him on a cover before.
Not 60 years probably, thinking about it. 40 years, yeah.
But we did. We just thought, the Zygons, and we kind of thought, well, they're not strictly an underwater species, but they could be.
Scaracin is underwater, isn't it?
Well, there's shape changes, so they could essentially be anything. And we thought, well, this prison could be housing some really vicious Zygons.
Yeah.
And they're there, and I think they're pretty scary. Actually, I was quite pleased with how that turned out.
Yeah, that issue that's all the underwater one is really good. You really get to know the Mytholoth and
there's a backstory, isn't there? And the character, like a tragedy to it.
It is quite tragic. Yeah,
it's unexpectedly deep.
Yeah.
So I have to ask though, what was your brief or Dan's brief for drawing that character, Mytholoth? What did you give the artist to say? Because it's kind of crazy looking.
So the artist, who I haven't mentioned yet, who I should mention because I think he's brilliant, is Sami Kivelä, who is one of those incredibly talented artists. Who's very much an indie artist. Like he's not an artist who you would see in the pages of Batman or Superman comics or Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But the brief really is it's on the page. Dan writes down on the page, this is a character, he's a squid, to bring your art to it. How do you see him? And he's a character that didn't really change at all. H8 went through about 4 or 5 different versions. Mytholoth was originally, say this now, Mytholoth at the time in the first draft of the script was a Sea Devil, but the Sea Devils were all occupied doing the war between land and sea, so we couldn't get them to come and be in our comic. So,
did you know about that at the time then, or did that happen later on?
Well, no, but to be honest, I mean, yes and no. We changed the character because we just wanted to do something new. It was suddenly it's a wall of familiar villains or character, and it's it's nice to add something to the Doctor Who mythology, if you like. That doesn't sound too pretentious. It's nice to put a character in there who we can give that sort of backstory to that Dan is so good at, really making us care for a character we barely know. I mean, that's his great talent, I think. So that was actually one of the big changes that happened. But H8 was, the amount of different. We're putting out a really nice graphic novel version
in June, I believe.
In June, correct. So we've been going through the various things. So there'll be some sketches and things there of what could have been, which is quite nice to see, and a sort of explanation of why it wasn't necessarily to be. So we pack that sort of stuff in because. Yeah, I like that too. It's the creative process.
Adding stuff, isn't it? Yeah.
It's just, it's like your DVD special features. Sort of thing,
exactly.
Really,
yeah.
But they do that in like the DWM collections and stuff, don't they? There's sketches and sometimes Marvel books have it as well. So it's nice to see, the kind of development on things and.
Yeah, it's I mean, there's sometimes there's so much you go, I don't want to leave this out, or I don't want to, but you have to, and so. We just pray for another print run where we can add some extra pages. We'll see what happens.
And then, of course, issue 3, which focuses on Annie the Adipose. Now, this I have to say was probably my favourite out of the 4.
Oh, wow.
I really, because the Adipose is not one of those creatures that is essentially. I mean, none of them are essentially evil, nasty, or whatever, but the Adipose was just I enjoyed the episode, but it was so ridiculous in a way. And it's almost like one of these monsters where it's just so ridiculous it can't come from a civilization. I mean, it appeared in the episode, this glorious Close Encounters of the Third Kind of spaceship, this cathedral of light descending from the heavens, and a kind of bare bones concept that, it had to be shepherded through its kind of infancy stage. And yet in what, 4-5 pages or so, it's like we suddenly get an immense feeling that these adipose exist. There's a reason for them doing what they do, and there's a kind of direction that their evolution is going in. And I never thought of the adipose bit, and how they can suddenly turn violent and brutal, and it's just it's really, really good. So when you see Dan, tell him that just brilliant. You guys cooking this thing up between you, it's just crazy.
I mean, it's funny because the adipose was a thing that I kind of thought, well, that's a nice. I had this vision in my mind of the adipose sitting in the palm of the Slovene, the two of them like R2D2 and C3PO almost, And the adipose, the key to the adipose was, when I was talking to Dan about it, I said, look, this adipose is a slightly older adipose. Let's say she's a teen. She's got herself a tattoo.
And a bit rebel, bit punk.
She's still an adipose, so she's phenomenally cute. But she's got a bit of a mouth on her, and she's a bit and so the more characters sort of treat her as this cute little thing, the angrier she gets. The more annoyed she gets with being underestimated, and it's nice to have in that third issue. She has that hero, that kind of hero moment, to bring us up.
Actually saying anything, right? Because it's all in there.
Eternal, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's nice to expand on that sort of character, because, like you say, like the adipose are kind of, they're incredibly cute, but you don't get any sort of any detailed world building, because the episode is about the introduction or reintroduction of Donna Noble and the Doctor having the adventure and so forth. It was a fun one to do that, and the response from people online to the adipose, particularly I think issue 2, where we've got an adipose in a wetsuit, which
I'd almost forgotten about that, but yeah.
Well, which the thing is there was a huge debate. Right, how have they got wetsuits? Why are they wearing wet? And all you have to do is say, it's a one size fits all, because you've got the guards of these rock monsters, and they should all be wearing. Why would they need a wetsuit anyway? They make rocks,
smart tech, metamaterials, all of that.
So you just kind of, you don't want the story to stop while everyone's we need a wetsuit for the anyway. So getting Annie in her little wetsuit there was good fun. And then the other thing with the monsters, I have to say, was certainly with the Slovene and with Annie, we were kind of hoping that Al Dewar is listening and that he'll make a little action figure pack of it's surely just a paint job to do the patch of the little tattoo on the adipose. So if Al's stuck for a figure, talk to me. We'll sort it out.
Who knows? Stranger things have happened.
Stranger things has happened. So that's kind of the thinking, but we just it's just a case each issue. Also, with each issue having a different location, it just keeps it fresh and hopefully stops it from running around some grey corridors, and gives it a bit of flavour.
It's not like that at all in this. No. As we're talking, we've read the final issue. This episode of the podcast won't go out until Sunday evening. So can we talk about anything, or do you think we should
it's out tomorrow morning, isn't it? We're literally hours away.
Because the bit when the beep and beep return and the Doctor beep I couldn't believe it. And then
don't say, honestly, it's going to blow your socks off.
And then beep happens,
Can I just say that beep the meep is not in this? No, the last episode, like ending these things is always difficult in a Doctor Who comic because the Doctor is not violent. You read most comics and the action, Batman, Spider-Man, there'll be an action punch up and shots fired, if you like. And so finding a satisfying ending in a Doctor Who comic is not always easy, and I'm sure it's the same for television because to hold people's interest, you want to have an explosion and some fisticuffs maybe or something in that kind of show. So you have to really think hard around it and how are you going to resolve the ending. And I think so far in the two we've done so far, I think we've managed to have a decent resolution that's exciting without suddenly slipping out of character.
It's got quite a nice. I won't sort of give too much of it. There's quite a nice sort of.
There's a good twist.
Yeah, it is a bit
There's
of a
really
twist to
good
it,
twist.
isn't there? Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
which makes... And it's a sort of twist where, if you see it coming, brilliant. But the fact that it's there just makes perfect sense. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it just... I'm not going to explain. I don't want to give it away, right? But it's a really, really good sort of twist that gets you into that end game, I suppose. Because the Doctor and the Warden are going to have to meet, right?
Yeah.
But it's how do they get there and what happens when they do. So, and that's the thing. It's like, well, where is the Warden actually? How does the Doctor get in there? And then kind of what happens? And then there's a kind of fallout piece at the end, which is kind of crazy in a way. And that ties into the location, right? Them being on the edge of a black hole, so there's some questionable physics, but we'll go with it. So it's all good.
Listen, it's a Doctor Who's all about questionable physics.
Yeah.
Where is the show me the
like
accurate physics? No, that's the thing, and it was important as well to us that you've got the Doctor and the team heading towards the finale, if you like. And I like the fact that Belinda is already there. She's, the thing with the Belinda thing, I mean, you might say, oh, well, she's captured and damsel in distress stuff. But she's a little bit like that whole scenario with her and the Warden, to me anyway, is sort of inspired by Raiders of the Lost Ark, when you've got Marion and Belloc, and she's matching him in the Battle of Wits, and then the Nazis turn up and overpower the situation, which Nazis sometimes do. Would do. And but it was kind of I quite like the fact she's sort of she's a step ahead of the Doctor in that she's confronting the villain from the first episode. So that was kind of fun to have that.
Well, she's really standing up, isn't she? This one of the things another element I like about this story is the fact that we actually, even though she's kind of locked in one location, it gives us a good insight into her character and how strong she is to stand up to this, to the Warden, who's an absolute fruit basket. So, and it gives us a little bit of insight as to what the Warden wants as well, and how he sees the Doctor, and it allows us to have that kind of grandstanding villain moment, but through the kind of interplay with Belinda, which also furthers the character and the humour and the danger element, the threat, and everything. It's because it must be quite difficult telling a story like that in a relatively short space of time, right? Because they're not long, epic, massively drawn out 20 installment, 20 episode series of comics. It's four installments, about, I don't know, sort of a dozen pages each-ish, thereabouts.
You've got like 22 pages each story, each strip. But you to be honest, I think we would all struggle if it was even a 6-part story. You kind of just want to really chop through it and have the pace, especially when you've got lots of characters like we have here. So
I find with a lot of comics, when you've got they obviously come out monthly by and large, it can be quite tricky to sort of remember things from month to month, and keep track of it, and often things, I've read stuff, I thought, well, I like that, I'll buy the collected edition. And then I've read that in an evening or two, and I actually thought, yeah, that was fantastic, because I've been able to sort of take it in a lot better. And I think keeping them to sort of 4 issues, is quite good to sort of contribute towards that side of things.
Yeah, it's definitely sort of, it just like you say, it just keeps the pace going. I mean, I think I read one review, which I tend to not read the reviews because it's terrifying, but there was one review that said, I would give this 10 out of 10, but I'll give it 9 out of 10 because I've got to wait until the next issue, and I it's not. This,
really getting in the spirit,
which is like, thanks for that.
Star for that.
No, so we're really 10 out of 10 comic.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's the central premise of the story, and that all drives towards the ending, and the last thing you want with any of these things is for the ending to not be very good, because then that puts a massive shadow. Your first one could be the best issue of any comic ever, but if the story leads to a not very satisfying resolution, it's a lot of care's taken over it. So I just hope people really enjoy it.
It was really good.
I enjoyed it tremendously.
Did you guys pick up on any of the Easter eggs in there? Did you any of the little monsters in the background we put in, and the villains?
Oh, there was a few, weren't there? Did I text you a few?
Oh, you might have done.
Yeah, the first couple of issues.
Yeah.
It was very funny because, of course, kind of said to Sami, "Can you put some, deep cuts in there?"
Yeah.
And there was some that I didn't even realise, and I was like, "Sami, what's this monster?" Just in case there was some legal problem. He was like, "Oh yeah, that's a pescaton." And it was like, "Oh wow, okay, that's a lovely."
There's like a wall behind the warden, isn't there? In some of the panels where there's like heads or masks.
There's a sea devil head on there.
It looks like Scaroth in there as well, actually.
Oh, it might be. It might be a different Jaggeroth.
Oh, different Jaggeroth, yeah.
Yeah, there's Jaggeroth. They get around those. And so that's a fun kind of. It's fun to do those sort of Easter eggy bits. I like that. I think, I quite enjoy that side of it. Yeah, why not? But also, it doesn't. As long as it doesn't overwhelm the story, you can have those little bits. I think as a fan, it's quite pleasurable to say, "Oh, I've just spotted that. That's from whatever."
Yeah,
whatever.
These are things that get people talking as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I hope so.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Oh, where was it? Maybe
I hope so.
When you're a kid or something, when it.
It's
my age, maybe.
Well,
I don't know. So I still get excited by these things. Why not?
Well, it's because it makes you feel like you're part of a club, and
exactly.
you're like, I'm in a club, and other people have spotted that, or maybe I'm the only one that spotted it. And I love it. It's an important part of it. So
yeah.
No, it's great fun, and it's So, is this? Are we going to see more 15th Doctor comics? Then, do you think? Is there an appetite for these?
That's a big question. We're working on something at the moment, but I can't really tell you at the moment what it is. All I can tell you is. Let me think. All I can tell you is that it's got the. Oh no, I can't tell you that. All I can tell you. All I can tell you is it's. Trouble is, if I just say all I can tell you is it's fantastic, of course I'm going to say that. I'm not going to say, we're working on a very dull comic at the moment. No, we're working on a very exciting comic at the moment. All will be revealed before long, I should think. And it is. It is genuinely going to surprise.
Really?
Yes, I think there's
a rock our world.
I think it could well rock your world. I can imagine we'll probably get a few letters as well. But I think it'll be. I think it'll be very good. I like what we've got so far with the early artwork, and the scripts are fantastic. So fingers crossed.
Can you reveal any writers, artists, or anything like that?
I can't at the moment because there's going to be a big announcement. But it's like it's I think we've got a winning formula. So we wouldn't want to change our formula.
Would it perhaps break any circuits? This comic?
There could be some broken circuits, but there might be some repaired circuits, and there might be. It's so exciting! I wish I could tell you, but I can't. I genuinely can't.
Let's wrap this up so we can stop recording, and then you can spill it.
Tell us offline.
I can't literally. If I start telling you anything, I will be deactivated. From they've got my children hostage in Cardiff, and they'll I've never seen them
again. Little spyware with like monitoring the recording, and he goes into the office tomorrow morning. Now, Jonathan.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's very exciting.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Really, I for one really enjoyed the Prison Paradox. I mean, I would give it. I'd give it a 10 out of 10. You know, why not? I mean, I love my comics. I do. I'm getting old, and I've got no plans on not buying comics. I've got a stack of Judge Dredd magazines there, which I need to kind of.
Oh goodness, Judge, really?
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
It's funny, we did, so we also, as you know, with these things, do numerous covers for the collectors and different comic shops.
Yes, there's some really nice ones.
Nobody's actually said anything, but of course, the brief was for this one was very much, remember the bit with Newt and the alien in the, where it comes out?
Yeah.
It was very much in that
up like the
level. Yeah. So Sam, so our artist on that, who was Abigail Harding, who just does the most beautiful art, sort of took that and ran with it. And, but yeah, we do all these different covers, and they're all collected in the graphic novel versions, so you can kind of see all the if you're a collector, you've got a checklist there, or if you just want to have a look at some nice covers, they're all there. So
those covers are really nice, and like Marvel sometimes release kind of posters of some of those, some of their covers. Is that something that might be possible with yours?
I mean, anything's possible. I mean, sorry, is that you're in the area now?
I just give Al Dewar now.
No, I know. I just give very much non-answers. No, anything's possible. If there's a demand for anything, we'll certainly look into it. It's the difficulty with these things sometimes is that if there's someone else that has a license to do posters, then obviously we need to stay in our lane and specialise in the comics. But yeah, you never know really if there's a huge demand. I mean, I always think we design the comic and we've designed this particular storyline so that hopefully it has legs beyond the comic. So bringing these things into the Whoniverse, so they could potentially show up anywhere, especially if action figures Al.
It's kind of an open ending as well, isn't it? As far as the other characters are concerned.
Yeah,
there's
a
possibility
degree,
that it might not be quite as final for them as we think.
I mean, it's
possibly.
Again, the thing with Doctor Who is it's like there's anything can happen in Doctor Who. That's
exactly. And more so, I think, in the 15th Doctor's era, where the whole fabric of reality is kind of stretched thin. It's
that's very true.
That's something else I thought when I was reading this as well. It almost seems to kind of not like not really jump on those ideas, with the rope logic and just the different way of kind of thinking about what's actually real and what isn't. That wall between fantasy and reality and kind of meta reality sort of just really disintegrating. But nonetheless, it implies it because they're on the edge of a black hole where almost anything could happen anyway. It's kind of that element of just being on the edge of the unknown, which is just there. It's like a little scene that goes through
absolutely.
the story.
I mean, I think last time we're on the edge of a black hole, the devil himself was
there you go,
held prison. So it's quite nice to do that. And I think with Doctor Who, I know there is a big it was a big story point in the last couple of years, that the fabric of reality but I think there's always been that to a certain extent. Things like the Mind Robber, and think of Enlightenment, where there are godlike beings around, the Black Guardian and the what are the Guardians if not gods of some sort. So I kind of always like that thing of again, like anything can happen in Doctor Who. You could have the smallest story imaginable, set inside a small room, or you could have, literally galaxy-wide devastation and things exploding, and thanks to bored gods and sailing ships and all that stuff. Anyway, so yes, I can't remember what the question was, so I'm just thinking about my favourite episodes of Doctor Who at the moment.
Just give you a chance to listen, to rattle them off, Jonathan.
Yeah, I know what I'm talking about.
yeah. Brilliant. So if you haven't, honestly, if you're listening to this and you haven't looked at the Prism Paradox yet, honestly, go out and get it. You will enjoy it. I guarantee. If you're a Doctor Who fan, I'd be surprised if you looked at this and thought, "Oh, it's not for me," because it is just so much fun. It's brilliant. It's a brilliant rendition of the 15th Doctor. It pits them up some some new and original kind of friends / foes. It's a great story. There's lots of the humour, which we haven't really talked about, is so on point. It's just unreal. It's just so good.
And also, I think if you want to see 15 with some classic villains that he never got to face, this is the place to get that. Yeah,
this is the one. So go on, do it. Yeah. Buy all the covers as well, because once they're out of stock, presumably that's it. There's no reprints on this thing, right? Well, until we get it in the combined graphic novel form.
That's very true. Once they're gone, they're gone, and we actually even have. There's even a couple of issues I didn't manage to snag in the office. So if anyone's got, I'll put a wish list onto Twitter or something, and comics that I worked on that I haven't been able to get hold of.
And your office is probably stacked up with piles of them at the time, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So what else are you working on, Jonathan? Because I know Doctor Who comics is not just your only thing. Is it?
Yeah, we've been working on. We've just finished a comic called Craniacs, which is a kind of a kids comic, which was co-created by a guy called Joe Simcoe, who does the Garbage Pail Kids comic. So it's that sort of that kind of humour. Yeah, it's but this is more of a slightly younger base, not so gross. It's like a it's almost like a Saturday morning cartoon kind of thing, but it's very funny, lots of jokes, really good characters, really good premise. So that's kind of my other one at the moment. And then there's a few other things. I've just edited a War of the Worlds spin-off.
Yeah.
That I've got a couple of projects I can't talk about at the moment. Two absolutely huge ones they're very exciting, but it's half term this week, and I should be working on it. But I will get back to them. They should be quite good fun when we get as we get going on them. So I'll tell you all about it. Hopefully next time I come on, we'll have announced everything and we can tell you what's happening. So they're the main ones. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think that's probably enough, quite frankly. I think, and obviously working on the next Doctor Who. So there's a lot going on, and it's all looking good. So
right. Well, that's really good to hear that there's more coming. So,
we've got to wait until Christmas.
Yeah, you're going to be filling that
TV show, aren't we? So we are looking more and more at the other iterations of our favourite show.
Yes, and we do try and make the comics as close to the show as possible. Hopefully, really does, but then expand it out into different areas. So it feels almost like, maybe at some point someone will look at this. Oh, I thought that was a TV episode, but it was a comic kind of thing. The dream, the hope.
some kind of mad, crazy fever dream. So before we wrap up, shall we do a time space visualizer? A very quick. See what everyone's been watching, reading, and listening to. As soon as I can find, here it is. It's in here somewhere. The time space visualizer. There you go. That was quite a big laugh. It's fair enough. Anyway, yes, as regular listeners will know, this is the part of the show where we talk about other things that we've all been watching, listening, reading, playing, or whatever, usually outside the worlds of Doctor Who, but who knows? So let's go round the room then, and should we start with our special guest, Jonathan? What have you been, if you've had time, of course, up to outside of Doctor Who? What's been your thing?
So a few things, because I'm not working hard, I'm doing other stuff. So I've been watching quite a few very interesting documentaries recently, movie-based documentaries. I've just watched, it's a couple of years old, but I watched a great one called RoboDoc, which is all about RoboCop. RoboCop. And it's brilliant.
See what they did there.
And what's incredibly clever, or what I think is really good about it, is it's 4 episodes, and they're a good hour long each. So it's a really in-depth, deep dive. You know, it's not the sort of EPK stuff you would get on a DVD. This is a really they interview absolutely everybody that's still around to be interviewed. And it's a kind of honest account. There's lots of really good stories you haven't heard before. Yeah. And so I kind of really sort of dug into that. And on a similar note, there's a documentary called Aliens Expanded.
Oh, have you got
it? Which is I've watched it over Christmas actually, and again, it's 4 hours. That seems to be lengthy. Really in-depth thing that you can really just get the kids to bed and then sit down and really get stuck into this thing. And it's really interesting. The whole, aliens making of thing has been really well told, but this is kind of has loads of stuff I hadn't heard before.
Well, and there's lots of. It was a fan project, I think, and then they managed to get. They got everyone for Sigourney, Jim. Yeah, they one after the other. They all sort of committed to doing interviews, and you had to kind of crowdfund to get your Blu-ray or digital or anything. And I was really tempted, but it was quite pricey, although it's massive. So I never did it. Where did you watch it?
Well, I contributed to the crowdfunding.
Oh, you did.
I had a bit of spare money, and I put it. Yeah, I did. But what I thought was interesting, with that is it was the sort of came from a guy called Ian Nathan, who was at
the Empire,
the editor from Empire. But largely fan made, and then it just picked up weight as they were making it, which is the same is true of the RoboDoc documentary, in that it was these guys who are just really enthusiastic about the RoboCop and kind of just managed to get some doors to open. And once you get a couple of cast members, they'll talk to other cast members. These guys are doing a documentary, and it snowballs from there. And I find that really interesting stuff. And if I really like a project or a movie or TV show, and there is that added material to watch, then I'll watch all of it. So
I do like a good making of, and they're quite sparse these days. I mean, Marvel did a couple of quite good ones called Assembled, but they stopped those on the recent films and shows. I mean, they were like an hour long. They weren't hugely in depth, but it gave you a bit of a kind of look into things.
I do think with these things though, it's probably better to wait a few years and put so these things are I say a few years, like 20 years down the line, because then you can get those on people are a little bit freer to talk honestly about their experiences, and you're not quite stuck
under contract anymore, and
you're not under contract anymore.
Window.
And certainly the RoboCop one and the Aliens one. There was some questionable behaviour on both productions. That people have apologised for, and everyone's friends now. But at the time, because obviously it's a lot of pressure making a movie, especially a science fiction thing that's maybe a sequel, or in RoboCop's case was just really low budget, and they were really sort of up against it in many ways. And so, obviously, human behaviour takes precedent, and not everybody's friendly on it. And so, but people are comfortable enough to tell those stories, which I think does sort of. So it's so both of those. That was fun. Kind of what I've been watching recently, and I'm sure loads of other stuff, but I just can't remember. It's obviously not that memorable.
Jeff, what about you? And you're not allowed to say Avatar or K-pop.
I've been watching quite a lot of a show with the kids called The Thundermans on Nickelodeon. It's sort of a sitcom, but they're a family of superheroes, and it's a bit like Henry Danger, which is also kind of a superhero-y type thing. And it's kind of a bit silly. Like there's their arch nemesis is now trapped in the form of a rabbit, and the son keeps it as a pet. But they try to kind of keep their identities secret. But as it goes along, that obviously doesn't happen, and they end up becoming quite well known. But there was a few seasons, and then a spin-off film, and then a spin-off series with the main people, and then there's another film coming out. So I'm not saying it's anything like amazing.
But it's entertained you for a little while.
It's fun. And a bit like Henry Danger, which is about a character called Captain Man and his sidekick Kid Danger.
Captain Man.
And they just get into adventures as well, but sometimes it's really silly, but very funny. So the kids have been watching it because there's loads of it on Paramount, and I've been really quite enjoying it as well. And I quite like as well that on the Thundermans, the main actors, Kira Kosarin and Jack Griffo, they were producers on it as well, and I think they might have directed some. And then on Henry Danger, the lad who plays Henry, Jace Norman, he's also a producer on it, and he's directed some of it as well. So I think it's quite nice. They're quite into it, and get really involved in it. So I've been enjoying that. Yeah,
the Thundermans.
Wow, that's good. Yeah, it's fun.
Brilliant. Yeah. Okay, so just to wrap that off then I'll tell you what I've been watching, actually. And I have been watching rather than playing and reading, actually. But I've finally got around to watching The Orville. You heard of that? Seen that at all? No?
I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it, yeah.
Oh, man.
Is that the Green Duck? Is it?
No. I wish I could fly right up to the sky. It's not that. It's a Seth MacFarlane thing, right? But it's nothing like Family Guy. It's essentially Star Trek. It's a homage to 80s, 90s Star Trek, so all those Next Generation, Voyager, sort of Deep Space Nine kind of things, that sort of era. And it's got his kind of typical schoolboy humor, which really works in that setting. It's like it's kind of, like Star Trek Lower Decks. It's kind of as irreverential as that, but it's not Star Trek, right? And the thing is, and I think this is probably why I hadn't watched it for ages, because I'd heard it was hilarious and slapstick and I think the thing is, because I love Star Trek so much, especially that era, that I can't have anybody taking the piss out of it. That's the thing. But when I actually watched it, I started watching it last week, and I'm on series 3 already. It's like they don't take the piss out of it. It's a genuine kind of homage to it, but it very quickly sets up its own thing, goes off in its own direction. And whilst it still riffs on some of the stuff we might have seen in Star Trek, it goes to places where Star Trek would never go to. A couple of aliens. I mean, there's a couple of aliens just smoking fags because they find a packet of cigarettes in the time machine from the 21st century, right? Someone's, the time machine canisters, somebody's buried it. And it's like, they open it as a packet of fags. What is this? It's a cigarette. Why would anybody do this? And as soon as they go, oh, this is pleasant, and then they become addicted to smoking fags, and then they start hiding their cigarettes around the spaceship and stuff like that. So it's kind of hilarious.
It's quite good,
yeah. But it's also, it's got some epic space battles. It's got brilliant characters. It's got some really morally challenging stories. There's not always a happy ending to it, and I'm absolutely loving it. I just wish I'd watched it years ago, but I'm really enjoying it now. Would highly recommend it to anybody, whether you love Star Trek or you don't like Star Trek. Watch this. It's its own thing, and it's fabulous.
Well, we thought of something else I watched, just spurred up by what you said. We've been watching Starfleet Academy.
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen that yet. I'm looking forward to that one. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, if you go online, you would think it is the worst thing ever, and why have they made it, and it's anti-Star Trek. We've been loving it. I think it's really good. It's just got it. It's by no means perfect, but it's really entertaining. And these things are just made, they're made to be entertaining. People put so much weight on them, and why can't it be like this? Well, it's not going to be like the Wrath of Khan because it's a different audience, different. And there's it's coming from the right place. It feels very Star Trek in places. The characters I think are very memorable so far. Bear in mind, it's only been on for like 5 weeks or whatever. So it's and I think it's worth giving a chance to. But it's just I think anyone making these shows now, all of these shows that you watch or do, especially the legacy shows, that you're making something, you're coming up against people who are just determined to like stuff, but also okay, you don't like it, fine, but
there's a sort of gatekeeper attitude with a lot of that as well, isn't there? If you enjoy this, it's not really Star Trek or Star Wars or Doctor Who or whatever it is, because it's not what it was when I really enjoyed it. It's never been that since. So if it's not that, it's not the thing, and it's like
not. And you're right. If I was making a show like that and I saw the kind of feedback that was coming out online, I'd be honest, I'd think sod this and jack it in. But I think that it's echo chamber, a lot of it.
It is.
It can't be all like that out there, but it's so loud online that it's hard to.
Yeah, but it's only on certain platforms though, because if you go onto other social media platforms, right, that haven't been kind of, have a better algorithm possibly, or more balanced algorithm, you tend to get you do see a balance of that viewpoint. I know on X is awful lately. Yeah, it's one of the reasons I just try and avoid it now, because all I see is I hate this, I hate that, woke, whatever. It's like, you got no clue, man. I don't want to be surrounded by people saying all this crap. It's just a non-stop train of fueled hatred, speeding through a tunnel, blind as you like. And I don't want to be part of that train, to be honest. I'd rather be outside the tunnel enjoying life, rather than being dragged into that kind of slipstream.
But I like to think I'm quite a discerning viewer, but I don't think it's like we say to the kids, like don't yuck someone else's yum. If someone else is liking something, it's just so boring to be sitting there. I don't like it. I don't like it. It's not really great. So, but so anyway, so Starfleet Academy, I really
highly recommended.
Yeah, I recommend it. It's a fun Star Trek show. It's exactly what it says on the tin. There's fun characters. Holly Hunter is the the kind of like the captain. She's not the captain. She's the chancellor of the Starfleet. She's a really she's really good in it. She's a really likable character. She's
I'm looking forward to it. Honestly, I am. I'm definitely going to be watching it. I've pretty much watched all the Star Trek, the 21st century Star Trek series, and enjoyed them. You know, as much as I enjoyed the original series, the 80s, the 90s shows. I just love it. And some episodes are better than others, but on the whole, I'm happy to be part of that and count myself a fan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Definitely. Well, there you go. So now we put the worlds of fandom to rights and discuss legacy shows as well as Doctor Who and Titan Comics and all the stuff you got coming up next, which you can't actually tell us about. So let's just end on telling people to go out and get the Prison Paradox because it's amazing.
Enjoy
it really is. So
bless you.
10 out of 10 from us. Jeff, as always, it's been a lot of fun. And Jonathan,
thank you.
It's been good having you on again, mate. It's been a while, isn't it?
Soon. Soon, I hope.
Yes.
Indeed.
I hope so.
Thank you for listening.
TTFN.
Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye
For now.